Toy Giants.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to a brand new edition of the J&J Toy Giants toy unboxing. I am your host JD, and today we're going to be unboxing another one of the Masters of the Universe Transformers crossover that was coming out in 2025 last year. And today specifically I'm going to be unboxing none other than the Bumblebee Armor Man-at-Arms figure. As you remember, about a month ago during the time of this recording, I actually unboxed the Skeletor, or the Megatron Armor Skeletor, which was actually a really cool figure. And if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch that first, and then we'll be able to entertain you once more while you continue to watch this particular one. So right now, again at the time of this recording, the new crossover that's being sold now, even though you can still get these figures now at Walmart, I believe these are Target exclusives if I'm not mistaken, but right now the Thundercats and Masters of the Universe crossover is currently what's being sold now if you're looking at timeline here. But I am actually a very big, if you haven't watched us before, welcome. If you're new, thank you so very much for watching. But I am a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I am also a fan of Transformers, even though I don't collect a lot of Transformers figures. I have in the past, but I've since let go of my collection because of the fact of the pricing, specifically that Hasbro was basically charging for their figures at the time, and still they are currently a little bit too pricey for my taste. But now Mattel basically are doing this particular crossover, and I am so excited to get into this particular toy unboxing. So without further ado, let's get into the toy unboxings. And like we always say, we always like to let them breathe. All right, so this is the figure now that is now unboxed, the Bumblebee Armor Man-at-Arms, I should say. And right off the bat, you can tell he definitely looks like both if you were to basically, combine them two together. So the sculpt that they did with these particular figures are very good, as I mentioned, with the Megatron Armor Skeletor. Man-at-Arms does come with a multitude of different type of weapons. He actually has a shield that is actually able to be put on. You can clip it onto his arm, but normally he's supposed to actually have it in his fist. So right here was where the hands would go right here, but I'm just having him hold both of his weapons at this moment. So he's got a laser sword and his classic mallet, as what I like to call it. Maybe it's a club, however you decide to actually call these particular weapons. This figure also actually has a specific attachable shin guard that is able to be taken off, and you can put it onto the right hand side if you so choose to do so. Right off the bat also too, like the figure is on the articulation is very stiff. It's been in the box for a while. Lord knows how long it's been in the box prior to when this particular figure was purchased, but not that bad. It goes up and down. You can kind of extend it out a little bit. The elbow is basically where it's really tight, but I would imagine so just based on the fact of how it's sculpted because of the actual forearm attachment for the figure. So you can twist it this way. There we go. And then also this particular portion of his gauntlet. It looks like it does come off, but I don't think so. It looks a little loose to me. I remember when I unboxed the Skeletor, his hands is removable so that you can put in the laser whip or the laser ball and chain that he is, or Megatron is very famous for using when he was fighting the Autobots. And as you can see, the Autobots logo here in Man-at-Arms' armor. Pretty cool. Nothing to attach on the back. His articulation on the leg go back and forth. You can extend it out this way too. This way, the knees are basically very stiff, but you can get articulated for different types of poses. One of the things I've researched or basically seen on a lot of different figure unboxings is that if the figure is really tight and you can't really do a lot of posing, a lot of people say to put it in hot water and kind of boil it a little bit, which I don't know if that's something that I would want to do specifically for me. That's just me. I don't know. A lot of people will have different ideas, but basically it's supposed to loosen up the joints by putting it in hot water. And of course, this particular figure, let me just try to put it up here. It does also come with a blaster. There we go. And also, which I think is pretty cool, it does also come with a face guard, like a mask, pretty much. So I'll show what it means here. So you can put this particular accessory on his face, and it looks exactly like what I guess you could say the Michael Bay battle armor for Bumblebee would look like, kind of, sort of, from the movies. Because I don't remember him ever having a battle armor specifically in the cartoon from the 80s. You guys will have to fact check me on that. I don't specifically remember that. But it's an actual, great addition to what a figure would look like. As far as being able to pose the figure and have it in your collection, there are some people that may very well buy 2 of these, or maybe 3. One to have mock, or for those of you who don't know what that means, it's mint on card, meaning in the box, kind of like these in the back here. And then buy 2 other ones if they're gonna unbox them, and then have one with the mask and one without the mask. I know for those of you that are looking at that, I'm like, buy 3 figures for all that? You never know. A lot of people are very, very particular on how they display their figures, and it's all, it's all good. I'm not hating on that. If you want to do that, more power to you, but that's not for me. I usually let all of my stuff breathe, unless it was like, either signed or it's very, very valuable. That would be the only really the time that I would actually keep it in the box. But other than that, essentially the paint applications on this are really cool. I don't see any smudges that I can see. Back in the day, and I'll show you an example here. Back in the day, in the 80s, they didn't have figure peg holes back in the day. This is an old school 1986 Roboto that I got from Action Toy Man. Be sure to check them out on Whatnot and on Instagram and YouTube. I'm going to be doing that on a live stream on TikTok soon, but I just wanted to use this as an example. But now, because of the fact that, a lot of times with more accessories that come with the figures, they have to have peg holes so that they can display them on figure stands so that they don't fall down all the time. Especially if there's a specific angle or like stance, I should say, that a figure will have. The only exception or the only example that I can think of, and I'm going to put a picture right here of the old school Joker that I actually did an unboxing of right here. He's very bent over on his stance, so it was very, very hard for me to be able to display him because of the fact of the way he's angled, when the figure was created, just the mold of how he was standing. But other than that, this particular figure is great. I love this whole concept of this crossover. Other than the weapons and whatnot, with any Masters of the Universe figure, they always come with a comic book, little mini comic book. And you can see it's Megatron and Man-at-Arms, or basically Skeletor and Man-at-Arms in their armor, Megatron and Bumblebee, fighting each other by the Energon of Grayskull. And when you open it up, it's just like a little comic book. You'll see, just like I went over with the Skeletor, I'm still needing to get the He-Man Optimus Prime, and I think there's another one of Starscream and Scareglow, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. There weren't a lot of different figures in this particular line. Like, they didn't have multiple series of this crossover. I think they had a certain amount of figures in this series, and then they just went to the next one, like the one that I just talked about earlier of the Masters of the Universe and Thundercats. So not only that, but this is a cool little feature. I don't know if everybody caught it. I actually just found out about it at late when I was actually unboxing the last figure. Is they come up with these little stats. Bumblebee armor, Man-at-Arms. Discovered that the Bumblebee armor is intuitive with the needs of its owner, no matter the attack. The Bumblebee armor gave Duncan everything he required to protect those in need at any given moment. So you can see the artwork here, which is pretty cool. Sorry about the light. and it has the stats. So courage is way up to 10. We all know that Bumblebee and Man-at-Arms have courage for days. Strength is at a 6, which is not bad. Speed, it looks, I thought Bumblebee was a little faster than that, but Man-at-Arms specifically doesn't have that much speed at 4. Power, same thing, is just a little over 4. Skill is up there at 8, and courage, like I said, 10. Endurance at 7. Not that bad. I actually like these. I don't remember this being a thing back in the day with the Masters of the Universe figures. You'll have to let me know in the comments, because as a kid, as one would, I always used to just rip open the boxes and not think another thing of it. A lot of times I would miss some of the weapons and stuff like that, but I actually really like this particular figure in and of itself. It's a great concept. But you guys tell me in the comments what was your favorite out of this series. I would probably have to go with and even being that I'm a He-Man fan, I would say just looking at the figures and knowing that I've already unboxed one of them already, is my favorite out of this series is Skeletor, Megatron Armored Skeletor. And then of course He-Man, even though I don't have it, I don't own it, just looking at the figure itself, my second favorite would be the Optimus Prime He-Man, armor or figure either. And that does it for this edition of the J&J Toy Giants. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also comment on any of our video submissions on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook, and follow us on Patreon. Also, take a look at our Patreon page. There's some exclusive content that you will not find on our YouTube channel that is on our Patreon, and also follow us on TikTok and Twitch. Thank you so very much for being with us on this edition of the J&J Toy Giants YouTube channel toy unboxing again. And like we always say, keep on cruising, bro.